Welcome, Reds, to the 100% United podcast transfer special. I'm your host, TC, and I'm joined again by my co-host, Scott. Hello, buddy.
Hello, mate.
Things are starting to move. We have completed the signing of Daniel James. The rumours are coming from all angles. We have developments on incoming transfers and also news on players set to leave Old Trafford. We also know our fixtures for next season. So what better place to start? Chelsea at home to kick off the season. A pleasant start and a kind run-in. What caught your eye, Scott?
That's an interesting start, isn't it? Chelsea at home, given that Sarri's probably going to be leaving and they're going to be getting a new manager in without their best player, it's probably the best time to play him first game.
You might be right, mate. Yeah, they've obviously got a transfer ban. Eden Hazard signed for Madrid in the last couple of days. And as you say, Sarri looks nailed on to go to Juventus. Juventus need their heads checking by my reckoning. But yeah, you're right, mate. Old Trafford, 4:30 on the Sunday, so we have to wait an extra day, unfortunately. But yes, you're right, I think. Get Chelsea, get a big win under our belts, first game of the season. It could be just the tonic we need.
Yeah, get off to a good start. And we all know what a bit of momentum does for us. Yeah, let's just hope we get off to a good start because, you lose those first couple of games or at least don't win them. And then we've got our backs to the wall instantly.
Well, yes, as you say, mate, we've got Chelsea first game, which, to be honest with you, is a harder game than you expect first game because we've got always the traditional thing of keeping the big clubs apart on the first day and the last day. But they obviously don't think that us and Chelsea are going to be fighting for the title on the last day, so they don't have a problem with that. But going away to Wolves on the second game week of the season, that is a tricky tie, isn't it? Especially with our recent history at Molineux.
Yeah, it definitely is. Really hard place to go, and I imagine they're going to progress from last season and maybe even be a bit harder.
Yes, I mean, it looks to me, those first two games, the 11th of August, 17th of August, you come out of them with 6 points and we fly into the season. That is us booming into the season. But it's an obvious two banana skins to kick off with, isn't it? So, look, we need to do our job as United, don't we? We can't be worried about other people. Chelsea home, Wolves away, first two games of the season. We really should be sorting that out. And then we go into a kind of run, right? Crystal Palace home, Southampton away to end the month. And then Leicester, West Ham away. And then at the end of September, Arsenal at home. So really, mate, if we get our act together...
It's strange there's only 3 games in September, no?
Yes, but obviously there'll be European games going on as well.
Yeah.
And then on into October, away to Newcastle. And then the biggie, the one that I always look for first. 19th of October, Liverpool travel to Old Trafford. One we always look out for, buddy. As soon as fixtures come out, me and you, I know that.
Absolutely. I mean, all of these are subject to change. That one's probably going to be a Sunday, given as well that we'll be playing in Europa League and we can't really play on Thursday and Saturday.
Yes, mate. Yes. And then finishing the month at Norwich and then obviously on into November, away to Bournemouth, home to Brighton, away to Sheffield United, home to Villa. So really, mate, we've really got a kind start to the season, don't we?
Well, yeah, that's what, 14 games, something like that. Again, it depends on who we get drawn against in the Europa League. We could be going away in Romania or Slovakia or God knows where. That suddenly these simple games on paper actually are a bit more difficult.
Yes, mate. When you look through the names, they look quite easy. But if you look at our record last season, then they weren't so easy, were they? Kicking off into December.
Yeah, we had an easy run in last year and that didn't work too well, did it?
God, I lie. Dear me, don't get me started on that, mate. We've left that behind now in the transfer season. Let's stay happy and positive, buddy. December, the start of December, Spurs at home, City away. So again, we're looking at a spicy December, like it was last year. And then Everton home too. So look, that pretty much takes us through to January. Boxing Day is always a favourite of mine. Home, which is nice for the boys, and nice for the Reds who'll be going to Old Trafford as well to have a home fixture. On the 26th, day after Christmas, Newcastle.
Does that evoke memories of a few years ago, does it, mate?
Against Newcastle, as it happens.
It is, yeah.
We'll leave that for another day, shall we?
Yeah, probably.
1st of January, New Year's Day, Arsenal away. Blooming hell, we're just getting over our hangovers. We travel to the Emirates on the 1st. Of course, that might switch to the 2nd. But what a start to the new year, eh? Off to the dance floor.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting January for sure, because then we've got the Scousers coming up after that.
We do. Norwich home, then the Scousers, and then we finish off with Burnley at home. So, yeah, you're right. It is certainly a spicy January, getting New Year. And that's the cycle pretty much. So, as you say, things will change. But, mate, I'll take that. It looks pretty decent to me.
Yes, I think the bigger games have maybe been dispersed out quite evenly, apart from playing Tottenham and then City back-to-back.
Yes, we also do that later in the season as well. We play them back-to-back again. But as we both know, things do change. Other fixtures and clashes normally mean the second half of the season is totally muddled, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Brilliant stuff, mate. So something to look forward to now anyway. We know where we start. We know what's going on. It's always a nice line in the sand, isn't it? Especially after the season we've had.
For sure, something to look forward to, and something, to be able to map out the next few months is something that we like to do.
Yes.
And take away these airs of uncertainty and all that, and let's move on.
Yes, mate. And talking about excitement, we do have our first signing of the summer now in the shirt, as you requested.
Yes, sir.
Daniel James. I finally got my Welsh winger I was after. Giggsy described him as the fastest player he's ever coached or played against or played with, which to me is absolutely incredible.
Present company excluded or included?
I don't know. Can you see how fast you run yourself from inside? I don't know. You tell me. But man, really, really good first interview, I thought, from Danny James. It spoke really, really well. Let's not forget his dad died a few weeks ago. He's come in there. He said it's so sad his dad can't share it with him. But he seems ready for the challenge, mate. He spoke so beautifully about himself, about the club, about his ambitions. Man, I'm a fan already, buddy.
Yeah, he certainly seems to be a humble lad.
Yeah.
Let's really hope he cracks on.
And Giggsy said that because obviously he's only 5'7", it's very hard to get your arm across him, because you put your arm across him, you basically elbow him in the face.
Mm-hmm.
So that cuts out, with fast players, that's the thing, isn't it? You step across them with your arm and you get tangled up and you just put them out of their stride. But with Danny James, you're fouling him. That's an elbow in the face. You can't do that.
Yeah, he's just going to bring some raw pace, and we really need some of that in our attack. We need someone who's humble enough to do the pressing off the ball.
Yes, mate. I'm really impressed with his attitude, and as obviously Giggsy has had a word with Ollie too, as we mentioned last week, and really, really happy with that, man. I think it's a great start. Not too expensive, between 15 and 18 million. Again, a young player. And look, mate, we've done all right with Welsh wings in the past, haven't we?
Yeah.
I love one.
Yeah. So is that the quota full, or are you still going to be begging us for Gareth Bale?
Is that what you were hoping, that I'd put to bed my dreams of Gareth Bale? You know what, pal? I'd still take Bale on loan. Look, I know what you're saying. I know. Look, we should have got him a few years ago, realistically. But if we can get him on loan, look, when Gareth Bale's fit, he's an absolute world beater. He's fantastic. Let's not forget that, he scored in Champions League finals, Copa del Rey finals against Barca. He scored in massive games. He's torn up the Premiership before. So look, I'm not going mad over him like I was before, but if we could get him in, he's certainly an asset to the attack. And who knows, man? I'm leaving it up to Ollie. I trust Ollie. We will see. But
yeah, I think I do agree with you. I just don't want to do business with Real Madrid. I think we're going to be held to ransom for him.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair point. I'd much rather Antoine Griezmann, of course. I know there's sort of still lingering rumours about that, mate. You still got a tiny bit of hope for that one?
I do. What I was reading the other day is that his whole decision last summer really grinded the gears of a lot of people in Barcelona, maybe severed a few ties. Yeah. And now with the Atletico CEO coming out and saying that it is a done deal and he's going to be moving there, that it sort of takes the ball out of their court. And, nothing is for sure until they're wearing the shirt, right? And so we can always hold out a bit of hope. And yeah, I certainly am, because again, he would be a game changer.
Yes. Well, I mean, we've got at least a couple of weeks to wait, haven't we? Because his release clause doesn't go down for another over 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. So, as we mentioned, a couple of weeks ago about our friend Matthias de Ligt being involved in the Nations League, there is an obvious time period where nothing is going to happen, and there's going to be all kinds of tomfoolery going on. So we'll wait and see with that one, mate. It's a dream, isn't it? Look, I'm not going to be disappointed if he goes to Barcelona, but I'll be absolutely over the moon if he comes to Old Trafford.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, moving on to one guy I don't want at Old Trafford anymore is Romelu Lukaku. You know full well that I've been a big fan of his, a big supporter of his when other people have been slagging him off and people have been criticising him. I've always stood behind him. But today I was reading that he obviously said that Antonio Conte is the best manager in the world, and that he's made his decision of what he wants to do. But because he respects Manchester United, he's not going to talk about it. But by doing that message, you are talking about it. Yeah. So you're not respecting the club at all. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is your manager. So why are you saying other people are the best managers in the world? I'm sorry, mate. I'm not going to put up with this nonsense from the players anymore. Romelu Lukaku can take a running jump. Go to Inter. Get out of here. Go to the backwater Serie A and be gone.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It is just complete nonsense. And again, how can he agree terms with them when we haven't agreed a transfer fee? How do they have the right to talk to him? and talk about contract terms with him when he's contracted to us. It just doesn't make sense. What happened to the old tapping up scandals, you know?
I know, mate. It's rubbish. And like I say, mate, if you don't want to be here, take a run and jump. See what Inter's like. I guarantee you it's not.
Yeah, take a pay cut.
Yeah.
How about that?
Well, we'll probably have to pay
What,
half the
instead-
wages, mate. The joke's on us. Unfortunately.
No, I'm not having it.
No, I'm not either. And you know what? Go to Inter. You think Internazionale is a better club than United. You'll have more fun there. You go and see how it is, pal. You go and see how it is.
You know, I think he's running away from the pressure. He can't deal with the pressure of playing for United.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you can't hack it, be done with you.
Yeah, 100%, mate. See you later. On to Bruno Fernandes, our little dream at the moment. Not too much has happened since we last talked about the possibility of him coming over, but nothing negative either. So it's still in the mix. And of course, we've been linked to Ndombele, Telefoot, which is quite a reputable news organisation in France, said we're in talks with Ndombele. Which doesn't necessarily mean we're signing him, of course. We can be in talks with many people just to see how the land lies. But it does seem that we've got quite a lot of activity in the midfield area, buddy. Ndombele, obviously, Thomas Partey, Adrien Rabiot has been talked about. He said himself he's in talks with Juventus and us. And there's also Longstaff down in Newcastle as well, or up in Newcastle. So, to me, this smells like it might have something driving it.
A whiff of truth?
Well, yes, a whiff of truth, but also that there may be exits as well as Herrera in the midfield. Talking obviously of Paul Pogba.
Well, yeah, and you're reading that the old Shakhtar Donetsk manager is the new manager of Roma and wants to take Fred with him.
Yeah.
So there's another possible out.
Yes.
But, you know, to me, mate, it's actually one of those things that with Bruno and with maybe even with Ndombele,
yeah,
that sometimes these big players, they get linked to United in order to get better deals from other clubs that are in the mix. I remember a few years ago, we were nailed on to sign Roberto Firmino. You know, everyone was all over it, and then all of a sudden he signed for Liverpool for twice the money. So at least with Fernandes, to me, no news is pretty good news.
Yeah.
It's definitely not something that we draw a line through.
No, mate, and I might shock you with this, but I actually would take Bruno Fernandes plus, so Bruno's looking at about sort of 70, 80 million,
Mm-hmm.
and then Pogba's being mooted to have a 150 million price tag on his head. If you were to offer me Bruno plus 80 million quid, I'd push the button on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would, mate. I personally think that Bruno is, not far off what Pogba is, and also he's not the hassle that Pogba is. He's not the attitude that Pogba is. He seems like, he's skipper. He's skipper of Sporting. So yeah, for me, if we could get a sort of Bruno and Ndombele in, look, I'd love Paul Pogba to stay and set the world alight and get his attitude right and really take this season by the scruff of the neck. But if he's not going to do that, then I'm happy to move on from him too.
Yeah, it's the same question I brought up a few weeks ago. Which Paul Pogba is going to be the one staying? The one before Ollie got hired? The one in Ollie's first 15 games? Or the one in the last couple of months of the season when, he just didn't look like he wanted to be there?
Yeah.
It's a very Jekyll and Hyde character, and you don't know which one you're going to get.
Yes, mate. I looked at a picture just a couple of days ago of, it was the last day of the season after the game had finished, and Pogba was shaking Ollie's hand, and he was kind of doing a weird sort of half bow to Ollie, as if he was sort of being a good bloke and sort of being sort of almost submissive to Ollie. But Ollie's face was the picture of thunder. It really was. And I just thought, could I ever imagine that dynamic between Fergie and one of his players, where Fergie's shaking his hand, but there was just an obvious energy disconnection between the two men. A couple of days ago, I saw that and I just thought, I've never seen Ollie with such an angry face, angry and sad. And he was on the pitch at Old Trafford shaking hands with one of his best players. So,
yeah,
mate, it's not good. Whatever's going on there, it's just not good.
Yeah, and for months these Real Madrid rumours have been surfacing and growing stronger by the day. And it just takes, if he was fully committed to us, he could just come out and say, listen, it's all nonsense. I'm staying here. I want to be successful here. But to be honest, I just think that it's not going to end up well.
No.
And if anything, if he doesn't get his move this summer, he's just going to continue to sulk like he did at the end of the last year.
I tell you what, like I mentioned, it's a couple of months ago now, if he does go to Real Madrid, I pray beyond all that Zidane does a walkie in the spring and Jose Mourinho comes through the door and totally ruins it for him. I don't care, mate. Honestly, the truth of the matter is I'm interested in people inside United. I'm interested in what's going on inside Old Trafford. If you don't want to be here, Lukaku, see you later. Pogba, ball's in your court. Simple as that.
Yeah.
As we said, Rabiot in talks with Juve, in talks with us. Longstaff, the rumours are still circling as well. What do you think of that one, mate? I kind of think we don't need another guy in the midfield who's wet behind the ears, personally.
I kind of agree with you. I think we may be preparing for something else with all these British talent that we're looking in.
Yeah.
But again, we can go out and we can sign a 60, 70, 80 million pound player, and they have this huge weight on our shoulders from every single report that's ever written about them.
Yeah, you're right.
Or we can go out and try and do good business, and these players have a lot less to prove, and we're sort of giving them a better opportunity if we only sign him for 25. But it's definitely one to be seen. He's a good talent, moves the ball around in that holding midfield role.
He does.
Remain to be seen.
It will indeed, buddy. It will. So the midfield is, there's question marks all over the place, isn't there? Herrera's gone, Matic question mark, Pogba question mark. And obviously loads of question marks for people coming in. Scott McTominay looks like he's here to stay. But apart from that, it is a bit of a mess there, isn't it, at the moment?
Yeah, we got Fred and Herrera as well.
Yeah.
I think that those two actually really came on leaps and bounds last season, ended the season pretty well, comparatively, and we can maybe expect a bit more from them next season.
Yes, mate, our history with South Americans, it doesn't fill me with hope though, right? God alive.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Dear me, our history with South Americans is just abysmal.
Yeah.
Absolutely abysmal. I blame it on Ronaldinho. He ruined it for everyone. Bloody broke my heart, that guy, I tell you, honestly.
But it's interesting because we sat here for years thinking, well, Manchester's the problem. They come over and they can't deal with the weather and they can't deal with the cultural changes.
Yeah.
But you just look across the street,
Oh, God.
Aguero and Fernandinho and a few other players that City have that have certainly made successes of it.
Yeah, and Liverpool's not a great city either. Firmino's all right there, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
I was being nice there. I said it's not a great city. Dear me, that's me on a good day, isn't it?
Well, we've got to keep this clean.
Most of the time, yeah. Mate, Harry Maguire. So the rumour circling now is that no one else is willing to pay the cash. We are willing to pay the cash. But it's 80 million, mate. It's what we sold Ronaldo for. And it's, of course, that you were talking 10 years ago. And it's what we bought Paul Pogba for, which was quite recently. It's a lot of cash for Harry Maguire, but he would obviously improve our defence as well. And our attacking corners, which I love.
Yeah. The most disappointing thing for me about this is that pretty much cancels out the chance of us getting Matthijs de Ligt. We're not going to go and spend 80 million on Harry Maguire. It's just the English premiums, though. It's insane.
Well, that's the thing, buddy, isn't it? That, Barca would get de Ligt for, 70 million quid? And then we'd buy Harry Maguire for 80 million quid. That's gonna be a tough pill to swallow, isn't it?
It's insane. And again, Wan-Bissaka for 60 million.
Yeah.
I just can't see sense in it, pal.
So now we're being linked to Joao Cancelo of Juve again, and obviously off the bat we're looking for a right back. That's the crux of the issue. Cancelo, but I can't see him being too much less than Bissaka. He moved to Juve a year ago for £40 million. So, unless we're going to buy him off them for the same that they bought him, you'd have thought that would go up to sort of 50 or a bit more maybe. And then you're sort of £5 million off what you're going to pay for Wan-Bissaka.
In the last few days, I have looked at a few stats of Wan-Bissaka, and he is actually, for 21 years old, Premiership experience, very, very quick. He made the most interceptions for a fullback, most tackles in the Premier League last year.
Yeah, his attacking stats and his attacking plays, he's not as good as it could be with all that pace, though, right? I think
he had 3 assists, but he's trying to assist Christian Benteke in there, who we all know they can't hit a barn door on the best of days.
Yeah, that is true, buddy. Absolutely. But yeah, it's good that we're looking for a right back now, I think. It will mean that we have... look, Ashley Young, for me, should be cover for both sides. He should be cover for the left side and cover for the right side, but he should be third cover for both, really. He should be coming in a real emergency. I must say, recently, pal, I've been tearing my hair out as to why we sold Daley Blind. I'm sure you were too. I know he's one of your absolute favourites, but what a ridiculous person to sell. Just crazy.
Yeah, it is. He was just fed up with it, wasn't he?
Well, he was.
He's far too good of a player to be a backup and underappreciated like he was.
Yeah, and you look at when Ollie played 3 at the back. You can't tell me he wouldn't have been a better option on the left side of that than when he played Luke Shaw there some of the time, didn't he? It would have been absolutely perfect, mate. But again, this is the problem with this merry-go-round we've got ourselves into. We get a new manager in. and then he gets rid of certain players, and then we get a new manager in, he gets rid of certain players, but then the next manager could have used those players. So we've been kind of chasing our own tail, and as we predicted on the podcast, mate, now the rumours are that Ed Woodward's going to do all the transfers himself.
Yeah,
I said, didn't I, that I said that I can't see us getting a director of football. I've seen this from Woodward before, where he's taken ages to do something. It just doesn't happen in the end. It looks like he's going it alone again.
really don't know what's happening with that, mate.
Yeah, which to me is not a good idea. But we'll see, mate. He can't have a chance forever, Ed Woodward. Surely he's got to start performing in terms of the team, because the money will dry up in the end if we don't start performing. It really will.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It's one of those head scratchers. How much worse does he have to be in order for something to change? I don't know.
Yes, exactly. And like I mentioned, buddy, you look at it. If the team's doing well, it's so much easier to get those commercial deals. They whack an extra 20 million on top of them. It's quite simple. It's not a hard formula.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think everyone loves United? Because we've been successful. If Fergie hadn't come along and we hadn't had those mad 26 years, then we wouldn't be as popular as we are now. It's quite simple, isn't it?
That's a good point, yeah.
Yeah. So, mate, transfer-wise, we're looking at all areas, aren't we? Attack, midfield, defence, goalkeepers. David De Gea dropped for Spain again for Kepa, who I don't really rate personally. He didn't look too happy about it, as I can understand. But after his form at the end of the season, it was coming. But that's going to get inside Dave's head. What do you think? Do you think that's going to push him towards the exit door, or make him think, actually, I'm better off where I am?
It has the opportunity to go both ways.
It does, doesn't it?
I was reading that we have offered another new contract.
Yeah.
And maybe it could actually have a positive outcome. I really don't know. I've been, as you say, there's so much else to look out for. That goalkeeper is one of those that even if he goes, we've got a good replacement. And we seem pretty good. So who knows, mate?
Personally, I think he'll stay. Now, I just got a feeling he'll stay. But what I would say is that, I know you mentioned we've got good backup, but we'll go from having potentially the best goalkeeper in the league to having, with Romero, definitely not in the top 5. So again, it's like the dilution of our club continues, and it's not a road I want to go down personally.
Yeah, and one report you read that we would actually pay him £20 million to leave.
You're having a laugh.
Yeah.
Boggles the mind, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does.
It does, mate. But yeah, transfer-wise, that's where it's looking. Of course, we've got signing in. Look, we're expecting news in the next few days, aren't we? We've got the weekend. Normally, things don't happen as much, but in the modern era, they happen more than they used to. So there is a chance, but we're expecting news in the next few days because there's a lot going on, isn't there, bud?
There is. Most eyes, to be honest with you, are on the players going out, because every day it's something new at Real Madrid about them needing Paul Pogba, and I think that could start a domino effect as to the rest of our business.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. And of course, a number of our players and a number of players we're looking at as well will be featuring in Copa America, which kicks off this weekend. Are you excited about that, buddy? Keep your eye on that?
I actually am. I'm in the time zone to be able to watch the games. Usually in England, the games are on the middle of the night. You can never really watch them, but yeah, I should be able to see a few games and certainly enjoy it.
Absolutely, mate, because you're based in LA yourself, aren't you, bud?
Yes.
In the sun, eh?
It's been cloudy, but you can't complain too much.
No, you can't. And you be keeping an eye on Paulo Dybala?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah?
I've still got a bit of hope that maybe Alexis Sanchez can start the season with some good form and turn out all right. You never know.
I thought I was meant to be the positive one.
You can't always be, mate.
I've given up on Sanchez, but fair enough, mate. Great stuff. Look, as I've always said, and as I always will say, I'd much rather be wrong in my criticism of a United player and then prove me wrong and then tear it up. And that put a smile on my face. Look, I'd much rather sit here and be talking about Paul Pogba being amazing, Lukaku being amazing, Sanchez being amazing, De Gea's signing and being amazing. I'd much rather that, mate. You know that. Mm-hmm. But there you go.
I think we just want De Gea to sign now so we can get that new goalkeeper kit with the pink numbers. Oh, man.
You do, don't you?
All over it.
It is a throwback to Schmeichel, isn't it?
It is.
Absolutely, buddy.
And I've owed you a De Gea shirt for years now.
You have
right?
indeed. You told me that year when he was meant to sign for Madrid, you said if he signs a contract extension, I'll be getting a De Gea shirt with a number 1 on the back. Of course, the fax machine broke down. Of course, he signed a new contract. But Scott didn't get his shirt, so...
Because they only offered one colour for us. I was waiting for the yellow one.
Yeah,
anyway,
to be fair, mate, I said I'd get a Schweinsteiger shirt if he signed, didn't I? That never happened either.
You did. You owe me one of those, mate.
That's not going to happen, buddy, I'm afraid. Not going to happen at all. What do you reckon? Do you think Messi might finally end his international drought, after Ronaldo added to his tally a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, without Neymar, Brazil
Oh.
looking a bit toothless. I certainly think Argentina are the favourites.
I've got a feeling that Argentina will win it, actually. I think it is in Brazil, so it does make it that much harder. But it just seems to me, obviously Messi, he needs an international trophy. He had a disastrous end to the season at Barca. They obviously had that night in Anfield where they ruined it for us and ruined it for themselves.
Ruined it for everyone.
Oh, God, didn't they just? Unbelievable. Normally he has a good season for Barca and goes off to Argentina and sort of is out of gas. But it might work the other way around this time, I think. Well, obviously...
I mean, if you have a front three of Messi, Aguero and Dybala with Di Maria behind him, I don't know how you can lose.
I know, mate. I know. Maybe too many cooks spoil the broth. You know all about that.
Or a dodgy defence.
We've got no cooks and a dodgy defence, don't we? But yeah, mate, it should be a bit of fun. There'd be plenty of players to scout, as we say. We're not linked with too many South Americans. As I mentioned, our history with South Americans is ropey. And, we've got a few South Americans, obviously, in our squad, in Rojo and Herrera, Fred. But obviously, none of them are going to see any minutes at all and not included. So it pretty much is Alexis Sanchez, who in all likelihood will be going out the exit door.
Yeah, so finally I've got the chance to watch it and I've not been bloody watching anyone.
No, mate, you can do a bit of scouting for us like you did with Daniel James the other day. Do you enjoy that?
Not really, to be honest. He was all right, but then they ended up losing, and it's the old curse, right? It's the reason I can't watch cricket. By the way, anytime I watch cricket in the last 12 years, England just can't do anything.
I know.
We go into something as favourites, and then I managed to find a stream, and it always goes to pot. Yeah.
It does.
Like a week ago, I managed to get a stream, and first ball, Joe Root got out.
Unbelievable.
And I thought, okay, I can't do this.
You switch it off?
I've got to turn it out. I switched it off, and we ended up winning the game.
Incredible stuff. You really are dodgy with the cricket. Whenever you watch it, that is true.
So annoying.
Whenever you watch it, it goes to pot. It's like my Wembley curse, mate. I've got a big Wembley curse. I've got Wembley curse for United. Every time I blooming go, we lose. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, you got to stop.
Well, yeah, I kind of did after 2011 Champions League final. The worst day I've ever had watching United, I think that was.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Because I had hope then. This season I didn't have it. There was less hope. But I went into that Champions League final with loads and loads of hope. And really, the most disappointing thing that day was the atmosphere from the Reds. We let ourselves down that day, unfortunately. Well, some of us were right. But yeah, mate, enough of the curses anyway. But the Copa America will be a bit of fun anyway.
Yeah, it should be.
And it'll take us through to pre-season.
Mm-hmm.
The boys are not coming to your part of town this year, mate. Off to Australia.
It's a shame. I enjoy my road trips around America to watch the lads, go and watch them train, etc. But I'll know they'll be coming back in next year, so it'll be all right.
They will indeed. And unfortunately the podcast as well, because just let all our fans know we will be having some really cool interviews coming up soon. So if they were coming to America, we probably would have had them a bit earlier. But we will have loads of really, really cool interviews coming up. Ex-players, people with links to the club. So, you'll still get, a couple of days a week, me and Scott chatting away. But then the likelihood is there'll be an extra show on some weeks where we'll get a really cool interview going on. So look out for that as well. We've got exciting times ahead.
For sure. Absolutely.
Big time. And don't forget, by the way, guys, to subscribe on iTunes, Spotify. We see very popular on Spotify these days. All the apps, all the podcast apps. Follow us at United100 Podcast on Instagram and get in touch with us, United100Podcast at gmail.com. So we're getting there, Red. Signing's starting to happen. Big news expected next week. Thanks for joining me again, Scott. An absolute pleasure.
Thank you, TC.
Cheerio, Reds.
Ta-ra.